Heartwarming moment. Millionaire discovers his maid celebrating alone asking, "May I join you?" Thanksgiving Day unfolded in Ethan Caldwell's lavish home like a scene from a movie. The sweet aroma of roasted turkey wafted through the air, mingling with the scent of homemade pecan pies. Outside, autumn leaves danced in shades of orange and gold, perfect for a day of gratitude and celebration. But across the street, a very different scene played out. Inside her modest apartment, Maria, a devoted mother and maid, meticulously prepared a simple meal. The weight of looming bills hung heavy in her heart, a stark reminder that this day was more about sacrifice than celebration. As laughter echoed from Ethan's home, he happened to glance out the window. Through the glass, he saw Maria humming softly to herself, her spirit shining even in solitude. It reminded him of his own childhood, filled with humble meals and dreams fueled by hope. Something stirred within Ethan, a flicker of empathy that had been dulled by his relentless pursuit of wealth. Could it be that in a moment of impulsive kindness, he could bridge the gap between their worlds? With uncertainty dancing in his chest, he knocked on Maria's door, scrambled thoughts racing through his mind. "May I join you?" The words slipped from his lips, earnest and genuine. Maria hesitated, taken aback. She wore her pride like armor, yet the invitation was a tempting lifeline in her loneliness. As she opened the door, the air between them buzzed with unspoken tension. Yet, surprisingly, the conversation flowed easily. Maria shared stories of her struggles, her laughter revealing layers of dreams and the grit that had kept her going. Each story unraveled the biases Ethan had held about wealth and status. She wasn't just a maid. She was a fierce mother, an artist of her circumstances. Their simple meal marked the beginning of a beautiful friendship. Maria's warmth danced in the air, the steaming food a symbol of connection rather than just sustenance. She talked about her kids, her eyes sparkling with stories of their hopes and dreams, while Ethan, captivated, found himself reflecting on the heart of success. It wasn't about money or status. It was about the bonds we forge and the love we nurture. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As they shared laughter and stories, an undeniable connection sparked between them, a moment where two very different lives intertwined. But as the evening wore on, a knock at Ethan's door shattered the intimacy of their exchange. A crisis from his business loomed, pulling him back into the world of wealth he often sought to escape. The door remained ajar, symbolizing both opportunity and impending distraction, leaving them at a crossroads. Would this fleeting connection transform into something profound, or could it slip into the shadows of their disparate realities? Ethan stood at the threshold of the door, torn between the warmth of connection and the chilling responsibilities of his world. He glanced back at Maria, whose radiant smile shimmered even in the dim light of her apartment. Her laughter faded, replaced by the weight of uncertainty. "I have to take this," he said reluctantly, guilt creeping upon him like a shadow. He couldn't help but feel he was abandoning something precious, something that had begun to feel like home. He stepped away, but one last glance at her reminded him of how fleeting moments like these could be. Maria watched as he crossed back to his own home, the door closing behind him as if sealing away their fragile bond. The laughter and warmth that had thrived moments before felt like a dream fading fast. She sighed deeply, feeling the comfortable weight of their shared stories dissipate, leaving just the ache of her reality. As Ethan entered his house, the chatter of his guests rang in his ears, unbearable and hollow against the backdrop of what he had just experienced. Plates clattered, champagne glasses clinked, but all he could hear was the echo of Maria's voice, vibrant and real. A glance at the lavish spread on the table reminded him once again of the emptiness it all held. "Is everything all right?" asked a concerned friend, pulling him back from his thoughts. "You've barely touched your food." Yeah, Ethan mumbled, his voice lacking enthusiasm. His mind was elsewhere, replaying the stories Maria had shared about her children and their dreams, coupled with the sacrifices she made daily to keep them afloat. A world so different from his OWNAS, his business crisis loomed larger in his mind. So did the realization that his money had often kept him from true connection. He had become so engrossed in his empire that he forgot the fundamental truth life had once taught him. It was the people around us who mattered. He had spent years building walls for protection when what he really needed was to embrace vulnerability. Meanwhile, Maria returned to her modest kitchen, the remnants of their meal still on the table. As she washed the dishes, the quiet filled her space. Yet, it wasn't lonely. It felt alive, infused with possibilities. She allowed herself to imagine what this friendship could become. Just as her kids brought joy into her life, perhaps Ethan could, too, reminding her of the world beyond her back-to-back shifts. Later that night, with the last plate dried and put away, Maria heard another familiar sound, a knock at her door. A rush of hope flooded her heart. Had Ethan returned? She opened the door, and there stood Ethan, looking different, somehow more grounded, perhaps. Before she could say a word, he spoke. I realized I can't just walk away from us. Can we start over? Hope and hesitation danced in the air, making the moment charged with potential. Maria stared at him, her heart racing. But what she didn't expect was for his next words to challenge everything she knew about herself. Maria, you have something I've lost. Can you help me find it again? As the implications of his questions settled in the space between them, both were left wondering if they were ready to embrace the kind of change that could alter their lives forever. Maria's heart raced as she absorbed Ethan's words. The weight of what he was asking felt heavy, yet there was an underlying thrill in the air. She opened her mouth to respond, but no words came. Instead, she felt the flutter of uncertainty swirl in her stomach, mingling with the warmth she felt each time she was near him. Ethan, sensing her hesitation, took a step closer. The night air tasted crisp and clean. He exuded an energy that contrasted sharply with the ornate decor of his life. In this moment, he wasn't just a businessman. He was a man seeking connection, something she had longed for deep in her heart. Please, he urged, his voice low but earnest. I've been so caught up in everything else, in what I thought I needed to be. But tonight, I realized I've been missing something essential. I can feel it when I'm with you. Maria drew a breath, suddenly aware of the weight of their circumstances. Here stood a man who had everything, yet he was looking to her for something so simple yet profound. Vulnerability. It was an invitation to unveil their real selves beyond the facades they both wore in their daily lives. I don't know how to help you, she finally said. I'm just a single mom trying to make it through each day. Ethan shook his head gently. You're so much more than that. You live with grace under pressure. You cherish every moment with your children, and you have this spark of life that draws people in. You're not just surviving, you're thriving in your own way. Maria's cheeks flushed with warmth. The affirmation felt new, almost foreign. No one had ever looked at her like that, not in years. I just don't want to let you down. What if I can't be what you're looking for? Letting me down would be pretending to be something you're not. Ethan replied, his eyes locked onto hers. What I need isn't about what you can do for me. It's about exploring this connection, learning from each other, helping us both rediscover why we are here. As the city lights twinkled around them, silence hung like a veil. Her instinct was to retreat, to overthink and find reasons to protect her heart. But something inside her wanted to leap forward, to grasp at the chance for something more than what her daily life offered. Okay, she heard herself say, surprising even herself. Let us explore this, whatever this is. Ethan's face broke into a smile that lit up his features, reassuring her in ways she didn't know she needed. Thank you, Maria. I promise to be honest with you and with myself. A small laugh escaped her lips, a sound filled with both apprehension and hope. Just don't go breaking my heart, millionaire. Oh, I wouldn't dream of it. He smiled, the promise clear in his eyes. As they stood together, a new chapter started unfolding. It was exhilarating and terrifying all at once. They began to share small stories, hopes, and dreams that had been buried under life's burdens. The past felt less like a weight and more like stepping stones leading to an unknown future. In that moment of openness, Maria couldn't shake the feeling that they were both stepping into uncharted territory, ready to confront not just each other, but their own selves. Yet, as much as they smiled and shared their truths, the question loomed at the back of her mind. Could they really bridge the gap between their differing worlds? Would the weight of reality crush this fragile connection? Just as she was about to voice her thoughts, Ethan glanced up, his expression shifting. What if we actually fail at this? The vulnerability in his tone gave Maria pause. She realized they were both standing on the same precipice of uncertainty, ready to take a leap of faith into whatever came next. Would they fall, or could they learn to fly? Maria found herself lost in Ethan's eyes, each second stretching into eternity. The fears and doubts that had moments ago consumed her faded into the background as she was enchanted by the possibility blooming between them. It was as if the night itself held its breath, waiting for their next move. Maybe we're already flying, she suggested lightly, trying to inject humor into the tension. You know, in a bumpy sort of way. Ethan chuckled, the sound deep and genuine. I like the sound of that. Bumpy flights can be exciting. He shifted slightly, putting both hands in his pockets as he looked at her. But what if the turbulence gets too rough? That's the point, she said, her voice steadier now. We navigate it together. I've had my share of ups and downs, and I'm willing to face whatever comes next if you are. His smile returned, but his eyes held a flicker of concern. Are you sure? I know that stepping into this with me might complicate your life. Your kid's everything. Maria took a deep breath, feeling the weight of his words. They'll always come first, but I can't deny that something has shifted in me since we met. I'm tired of just existing. I want a life where I actually feel alive. Ethan stepped closer, the air between them thickening with unspoken emotion. What if I want that too? What if, by some miracle, we can help each other? Her heart swelled at the thought. The world around them resumed its usual tempo, the honking cars, laughter from nearby couples, the echo of music wafting through the streets, yet they stood in a bubble of intimacy. Let us not overthink it then, Maria said softly, holding his gaze. Let us see where it takes us. But we have to promise to be open and honest. No hiding. Agreed. Honesty over everything, Ethan replied, his tone sincere. They stood silently for a moment, the bindings of their pasts threatening to lurch into the present. Maria knew she couldn't afford to be naive. A part of her wanted to cling to that sweet notion of pure connection, but the realities of their lives hung heavily in the air. Before she could voice her concern, Ethan said, What do your kids think about me? I mean, should I be worried about a mob of little ones coming to chase me away? Maria laughed, the tension breaking momentarily. They're just kids. They'll probably be more curious than anything. You might have to bring cookies or something. I can handle cookies, he grinned. Oh, and I'm definitely good with kids. I have a talent for it. It was hard to keep her heart from fluttering at the image of Ethan engaging with her children. He would fit in so easily, almost effortlessly. But then the terrifying thought crept back in. What if it all spiraled out of control? Ethan, she started, her voice trembling. I don't want to drag you into my life only to ruin everything. No one can ruin anything that hasn't even begun, he countered, his expression thoughtful yet hopeful. Let us take it slow. If it leads to something beautiful, then we can look back at these moments fondly. She nodded slowly, her heart pounding in tune with their conversation's rhythm. The uncertainty was still there, but now it felt less like a threat and more like the edge of a new adventure. Okay, slow it is, she whispered, a smile tugging at her lips. As they continued to talk, sparks began to fly between their dreams and fears, weaving an intricate tapestry of what-ifs and whys. Yet, as the evening deepened, another question began to tangle in Maria's heart. When reality inevitably set in, would they have the strength to fight against it, or would the differences in their worlds finally tear them apart? The underlying tension of impending challenges loomed, as thick and palpable as the night-era reminder that every adventure comes with its risks. Would they be brave enough to face what awaited them just beyond this point of uncertainty? The moon hung high above them, casting a silver glow on the quiet street. Maria and Ethan moved slightly apart, still wrapped in the warmth of their conversation, but beginning to feel the chill of the late evening. What now? Ethan asked, his voice low and encouraging. Maria pondered for a moment, conflicted by the weight of what was brewing between them and the responsibilities that loomed in the background. How about a walk? We could head to that little park around the corner. Sounds perfect, he responded, taking the lead as they strolled side by side. The city hummed with life, yet in that moment, they were cocooned in their own universe, the world's noise fading into a gentle whisper. As they walked, Ethan pointed to a small ice cream shop that glowed with a vintage charm. That place is supposed to have the best sundaes. What do you say? You can't celebrate a new partnership without ice cream. Maria laughed, feeling lighter as she considered it. One scoop. Just one, she agreed, excitement bubbling at the thought of sharing a simple treat. They stepped inside, the cool air washing over them like a refreshing wave. Amidst the selection of flavors and vibrant decorations, Ethan turned to Maria, his expression serious yet playful. You know, there's something you should know about me before we indulge. Oh no, what is it? Her heart raced, but her smile never faltered. I have a weakness for sprinkles, he said, feigning dramatic concern. You might never look at me the same way again. Maria burst out laughing, the sound musical against the backdrop of the busy shop. I think I can handle that. They ordered Maria with her favorite chocolate scoop, and Ethan opting for an extravagant combination of mint chocolate chip topped with whipped cream and, of course, sprinkles. As they found a small table outside, their eyes sparkled with joy, their worries momentarily forgotten. Sitting there, talking and teasing, Maria felt a warmth spreading through her, as though the universe was assuring her that this was exactly where she was meant to be, sharing laughter and dreams with someone who made her heart skip. I can't believe how easy this feels, she admitted, taking a spoonful of her ice cream. I'm normally a mess with all this. You're not a mess. You're brave. It takes guts to step outside your comfort zone, Ethan replied, looking straight into her eyes. I admire that. His words wrapped around her like a comforting blanket. Maria glanced down for a moment, heart racing at the sincerity in his gaze. I just hope it's not all just fantasy, she said, the reality creeping back in, demanding her attention. Hey, Ethan reached out, placing his hand on top of hers. Let us make this real. Focus on every moment, okay? No overthinking. Promise? She nodded, the simple act of his hand against hers sending a rush of warmth through her body. Promise. Just as they shared a radiant smile, the moment was interrupted by the distant sound of children laughing, followed by a couple passing by, holding hands, clearly lost in their own world. The sight tugged at Maria's heart, memories of her own children flashing through her mind. Is it bad that I feel like I'm living two lives? She confessed, feeling the weight of her responsibilities creep back in again. Ethan drew in a breath, contemplating her words. Not at all. It's just part of the journey. Balancing everything can be tricky, but you're not alone in this. She appreciated that. Yet, shadows flickered at the edges of her mind, whispering doubts. But what if this all changes? What if my kids can't accept us? Then we figure it out together. We take our time, remembering that this is just the beginning, he encouraged, squeezing her hand. Yet, as they finished their ice creams and the sun began to set, fading light revealed something deeper within her, a question that clawed at her core. Could she truly open her heart to someone new without losing herself? Just as Maria started to articulate her fears, a sudden silence fell, making her freeze. A nearby group of kids chased each other, laughter mingling in the air, but her thoughts turned inward. Would Ethan be able to blend into her chaotic life, or would their worlds ultimately clash? The thought hung heavy between them as they both wrestled with feelings of hope and apprehension. But beneath the weight of uncertainty, a brighter idea began to form. What if they could create something beautiful amidst the chaos? With the dusk deepening around them, Maria felt her heart beat a little faster. The thrill of asking something she hadn't dared yet lingered in the air. What happens next in their journey? As they stood to leave, a soft breeze carried the distant sound of music, igniting an unspoken promise of what was yet to come. They moved toward the exit, hand in hand, ready to face whatever awaited beyond the twilight. As they stepped out of the ice cream shop, the soft music wafting through the air wrapped around them like a gentle hug. The path ahead wasn't just illuminated by the streetlights. It sparkled with possibilities they dared not mention aloud. Did you hear that? Maria asked, her voice breaking the newfound tranquility. She liked how the excitement bubbled in her chest, lighting up her thoughts. It's a band. Let us check it out. Ethan turned toward her, his eyes brightening at the thought of spontaneous adventure. Lead the way. He let her take the lead for a moment, savoring the thrill of her enthusiasm. The music grew louder as they approached a small park, where a local band was playing a lively set. People gathered around, some dancing, others simply swaying to the rhythm. The scene felt electric, filled with laughter and clapping, a stark contrast to the contemplative air they had just left behind. Maria stopped mid-stride, her heart pounding at the sight. It reminded her of afternoons spent at community events, lost in carefree moments before the weight of reality settled back in. I haven't done this in ages, she admitted, glancing up at Ethan. I used to love dancing. Then let us dance, he exclaimed, pulling her gently into the throng of movement. The beat pulsed through her, captivating her spirit. She laughed as they joined the energetic crowd, swaying and twirling. Ethan's presence felt solid, his laughter mingling with hers, lifting her heart just a little higher. In that moment, all her worries about her kids, about responsibilities, began to fade. Here, under the night sky, they were simply two souls enjoying life. Ethan found a rhythm, drawing her into a playful spin. You've got moves, he teased, watching her light up with joy. Maria felt the music sweep her away, each note dismissing her doubts, if only for a while. But as the song shifted to something slower, the crowd around them began to pair off. Ethan caught her gaze, a flicker of unspoken understanding passing between them. Things were happening so fast, but the warmth in his eyes gave her courage. This moment was theirs. When the music slowed, he stepped closer, eyes locked onto hers. Are you okay? He asked softly. I don't want to push you too fast. She took a breath, warmth unfurling in her chest at his concern. I'm good. Really, she murmured, and the honesty felt good. It feels nice to let go, even just a little. Then let us keep going, he said, and she felt the steady beat of their connection reaffirming itself. As they danced closely, an unexpected serenity washed over her. For a fleeting moment, it felt as if they were the only two in the universe. But as the last notes of the song faded, reality crept back in. The laughter and joy from the crowd softened, and she felt the pull of her everyday life, a reminder that this dance was just a momentary escape. What about the kids? She whispered, almost hesitant to break the bubble. What will they think about all this? Ethan shifted, his expression turning contemplative. I don't know how they'll react, but we can't worry about that now. Let us enjoy each moment, he replied, his voice steady and reassuring. Right? She nodded, feeling torn. Part of her longed to embrace this newfound joy, but the other part clung to her responsibilities. Just then, a nearby child tugged at her heartstrings, dancing alone, a bright-eyed girl lost in the music, innocence shining. Maria's heart constricted at the contrast between that carefree spirit and the complexities of her own life. Maybe we could bring them here one day, Ethan suggested, noticing the wistfulness in Maria's gaze. She could feel that idea blossom in her mind, but a kind of sadness loomed over it. How could she blend this budding relationship with her life as a mother? The question lingered, unvoiced but visible in the way her brow furrowed slightly. Maria stared at her feet, then looked up at Ethan. Are you willing to face all that chaos? She asked, testing the waters. Would he still want to dance through the unpredictability of her life, or would their worlds prove too different to unite? He smiled, warm and inviting. I want to try, Maria. I really do. Just as their hands intertwined again, a loud burst of laughter from the nearby children startled her. The joyous sound rekindled her hope, but it also ignited a deeper, gnawing question. Was she ready to merge her life with someone else, knowing full well the chaos that came with it? And as they danced on, a flicker of uncertainty settled in her chest, echoing a question that lingered unanswered, thickening the air around them. What would it truly mean to open her heart to him? The music swelled again, filling the air with a buoyant cadence that pulled Maria back to the moment. She and Ethan stood together, their fingers entwined. The laughter of children danced around them, and a lonely flicker of hope nudged at her heart. Secrets hovered unspoken, brushing against the edges of their connection, but the rhythm of the night was persuasive. Let us dance again, Ethan suggested, lifting her spirits higher. The spark in his eyes reflected the joy swirling around them. She could see it wasn't just the music. He reveled in the very act of being with her, and that thrill brushed away the remnants of her doubts, if only for now. They joined the crowd once more, but this time Maria felt a little bolder. Ethan's laughter, infectious and bright, made her forget about the chaos waiting back home. For a brief moment, the weight of responsibility and the demands of motherhood drifted further away, and she found herself lost in the music and the moment. With every turn and spin, Ethan seemed to read her movements, instinctively knowing when to take the lead and when to let her shine. She realized they were creating their own melody, separate from the music playing around them. Then, something shifted. An instrumental break gave way to silence, the crowd pausing in anticipation. Just as she turned to find Ethan's gaze, a voice rose above the murmurs around them. A girl with blonde pigtails stood before them, eyes wide with wonder and her expression beaming. "Can I dance with you?" the child asked, her hands clasped at her chest, innocence radiating from her small frame. Maria felt taken aback, a little surprised by the request, but it showcased that irrepressible spirit she admired. Ethan knelt down, smiling at the girl. "Of course. It's a dance party, right?" As they began to twirl together, Maria watched. The joy on the girl's face showcased the beauty of freedom. A small knot in her stomach slowly unraveled. Children's South laughter filled the park, a harmonious melody to their laughter. In that moment, she felt an unexpected warmth suffuse her heart. Maybe this was what it meant to embrace chaos, the colorful, messy mix of joy and fear that came with living fully. She turned to Ethan, his face lit up with delight as he encouraged the child. "You're a great dancer," he said, clapping for the girl as she spun around with eagerness. Maria joined in the applause, laughter bubbling up within her. She couldn't help it. The weight of her responsibilities slipped through her fingers like water. In this spontaneous spirit of togetherness, she found something liberating. Yet, as the night continued, shadows crept into her mind. What did it mean for her children to see her like this? The idea of her dancing with Ethan, the man she was beginning to care for, loomed larger than life. The girl let go of Ethan's hand, twirling away into the crowd, leaving a trace of innocence that lingered in the air. Glancing at Ethan, she saw something there, in understanding, a quiet promise that stirred hope within her. "Maybe we could," she began, her voice trailing off. The vision of a day spent dancing in the park, surrounded by laughter from her kids, both thrilled and frightened her. Ethan stepped closer, reading her hesitation without needing words. "What is it? I want to share all of this with my kids," she admitted, feeling vulnerability open like a flower in bloom. "But what if they don't accept it? What if they'll see you happy, Maria?" he interrupted gently. "They need to know the real you. And so do you." His words sank in like a soothing balm. But just then, the music shifted again, a vibrant energy swirled back to life. As people began to clap and shout, she felt that familiar uncertainty follow, an echo of her previous fears. Could she embrace this new dynamic without tearing apart what she had built for her family? As she took a deep breath, Maria realized the dance was far from over, not just the physical one, but everything that was to come. The laughter surrounded them, pulsing with life, drawing them closer into this unpredictable adventure. What if she could pull them into this joy? What if? And suddenly, the weight of the unknown danced right alongside her, leaving her in that fragile space where answers were still waiting to emerge. The moment seemed to hang, suspended in time. Amidst the swirling colors of light and laughter, Maria's thoughts flickered like the fireflies weaving through the summer air. Could she really share this joy with her kids? Would they see not just her happiness but also the woman she was trying to reclaim? Ethan, ever perceptive, caught the drift in her eyes. "Hey," he said, tilting her chin up to meet his gaze. "How about we invite them next time? I think they'd love the energy here, like you do." A wave of warmth surged through her. Imagining her children swirling beneath the lights, carefree and filled with laughter, painted a picture of a future she craved. While the memories of the loud morning chaos echoed in her mind, something about that vision flickered with hope. "Maybe," she whispered, half lost in the dreams fluttering around her heart. Just then, the girl from before returned, pulling Ethan's arm as if to resume their dance. "Come on, let us keep dancing." Her enthusiasm was infectious. Ethan looked at Maria, then back at the child with an irresistible smile. "Let us give her a real show, shall we?" He took the girl's small hand, spinning her around, And in that whirl, Maria felt something shift within her, her walls loosening just a bit. They danced together in a wild formation. Maria laughed and clapped along with the crowd as excitement washed over her. Every clap, every shout was a small rebellion against the worries that usually gripped her tightly. For the first time, she felt that embracing joy didn't mean losing her responsibilities. Perhaps it could mean reinterpreting them, less as burdens and more as parts of her story. As the crowd surged, voices merged into one, creating an exhilarating harmony that echoed through the night. Even the stars above seemed to blink in sync with the beats of the music. With each spin and leap, she found herself on a bridge between the past and a brighter future. And as Ethan reached out to her, dragging her back into the rhythm, she realized he wasn't just a man in that moment. He was a partner, an ally in her journey to rediscover herself. But then, the music shifted once more, plunging back into a slow, melodic tune. The lively rush faded, and the world transformed into a serene escape. Couples slowly found their rhythm, swaying gently, caught in the soft glow of the strings and the tender atmosphere. Instinctively, Ethan wrapped an arm around her waist and pulled her close. Maria felt her heart race, the closeness stirring a newfound awareness. She rested her head on his shoulder, feeling safe in his embrace, yet a bittersweet thread of doubt returned. Would these moments last outside this night? What would happen when reality returned, wrapping her in its familiar constraints, dragging her back into the ever-spinning wheel of motherhood? Would she lose the spark? Dance with me, Maria, he murmured softly, breaking through her frantic thoughts. Just be here. As they swayed, the music curled around them, and for the first time, she embraced the moment fully. This didn't need to be the end of her story, just a beautiful interlude. But just as she began to settle into the rhythm of the night, a loud voice broke through the tranquility. "Hey, Maria, is that you?" Startled, she pulled away slightly, scanning the crowd. She could barely recognize the figure weaving through, her heart caught in her throat. Shadows of her past were invading this fragile moment, threatening to unravel everything she had started to weave together in that brief celebration. What was coming for her now? Who was calling her back? As uncertainty and a pang of dread tangled within her, Maria felt herself flicker between hope and fear. The moment would change again, but she didn't know if it would rise above the noise of her reality or bury her deeper within its demands. Maria's heart pounded as she recognized the voice. It was Laura, her childhood friend, someone from another chapter of her life, one she often tried to forget. Laura wove through the crowd, her blonde curls bouncing with every step. Maria's breath caught in her throat. What was she doing here? "Laura," she managed, forcing a smile that felt more like a mask than genuine joy. The stars above them dimmed momentarily, as if echoing her internal struggle. "Wow, I can't believe it's really you," Laura said, her smile wide with genuine excitement. She looked around, taking in the vibrant scene. "This place is incredible. You look amazing, by the way. Are you having fun?" "Yeah," Maria replied, the word almost sticking in her throat. The bubble of happiness she had found moments earlier felt fragile now, ready to burst under the weight of her past. "Ethan, right?" Laura said, shifting her gaze to him with curiosity. "I hear you've been keeping Maria entertained." She winked, and Maria felt a flush creep up her cheeks. Ethan chuckled, clearly amused by Laura's exuberance. "Something like that," he said, a soft smile creeping upon his lips, enveloping the moment with warmth again. But as they stood there, three people in a swath of confusion and history, Maria felt the familiar tightness in her chest return. The laughter of strangers felt distant now, overshadowed by the reality of her choices. The vibrant colors of the night faded into a grayish backdrop as memories of their long-ago friendship swirled in her mind. "Why didn't you tell me you'd be here?" Laura pressed, her eyes sparkling with innocent mischief. "I would have come to see you. I miss our wild nights." "I guess I've changed," Maria said quietly. "Things are different now." She chose her words carefully, wrapping them in layers of honesty and deflection. "Different can be good. It sounds like you're finding your groove again, dancing here, being out. We should really celebrate. It feels like forever since we had a night out." Laura's passion was infectious, her energy radiating into the dim space. Just then, another voice broke in, a man's voice this time. Maria, come on. It was David, another face from her past. He was approaching, his presence sudden and unexpected. You've got to see this. Come on. Maria felt as if the floor was tilting beneath her. She turned to Ethan, seeking the reassuring connection they had shared moments before. He reached for her hand, but doubt cast shadows across her heart. She wasn't ready for this. She didn't just want to dance with Ethan in many ways. She wanted to dance with herself. Do you need a moment? He asked, reading her expression as if it were handwritten. The warmth in his gaze felt grounding, but she wasn't sure if it could absorb the imposing wave of her past crashing before her now. Just give me a second, she murmured, feeling the need to face the remnants of who she used to be. Thoughts collided in her head. Was she really ready to confront those ghosts, to blend her past with this beautiful moment of rediscovery? David waited with expectant eyes, and Laura's excitement bubbled just behind her. She could feel them reaching for her, wanting to pull her back into a life she had pushed aside. It felt enticing but terrifying. The music pulsed in the background, a tangible pulse of freedom. But in that instant, a question loomed heavy in the air. Would stepping back into her old life quench the renewed fire of her spirit, or would it deepen her longing for something more? As the night wrapped around her like a warm embrace, Maria gripped Ethan's hand tighter. The convergence of her past and her present felt surreal. She could feel the next step hovering tantalizingly close, yet she didn't know which direction to take. What would she choose? Would she seek comfort in the familiar, or would she step into the unknown, hoping to protect the spark she had just ignited? The answer hung in the air, waiting to be discovered. As Maria stood at the crossroads of her life, she felt the weight of expectation and the thrill of possibility both cancel each other out. She glanced at the familiar faces of Laura and David, two people who once filled her nights with laughter and mischief, but now seemed to represent a life that felt distant. The joy she'd shared with Ethan a moment ago felt like a fragile bubble, ready to burst in the face of her old world. I'll be right back, she said softly, squeezing Ethan's hand. The warmth of his presence stayed with her, an anchor in the storm of emotions that swirled inside her. She took a deep breath, steadying her heart, and walked away from him toward her past. Maria, you've really transformed. When was the last time we saw you? Laura exclaimed, her voice brimming with nostalgia. The excitement in Laura's voice rang hollow to Maria's ears, missing the depth of the struggles that lay behind them. Things have changed since then, Maria replied, keeping her tone measured, avoiding any probing for details. She couldn't let the whirlwind of memory define her now. Change is good, but you can't forget how to have some fun. David chimed in, his challenge lingering between them. You know, we could use you in our crazy group again. Oh, Maria replied, curiosity mixing with apprehension. What are we doing? More late-night escapades? She asked, pretending to be lighthearted, but dredging up ghosts of unenlightened decisions. Why not? We used to rule the night. David laughed, his voice echoing the carefree spirit she had once embraced. It would be just like old times. We could rekindle the friendship. Laura chimed in, her eyes full of eagerness, missing the nuances that defined her reality. But in that moment, Maria felt a nagging discomfort growing within her. Dancing with Ethan had felt exhilarating, and here she was, shadowed by her past choices and surrounded by fond memories that suddenly felt like shackles. I don't know you guys, my life is different now. The firmness of her voice shocked her. I have to think about my kids, my future. Surprise flickered across their faces, struggling to grasp the breadth of what she meant. But you have to make time for yourself, right? Laura insisted, her enthusiasm clashing with Maria's heavy heart. Right, Maria acknowledged. But my priorities have shifted. I'm not who I was back then. But David began, opening his mouth to argue, but Laura pushed in. Maria, you deserve to enjoy life too. Why not just take a step back into some fun? At that moment, a cacophony of laughter erupted, and Maria glanced back at Ethan in the distance, the light surrounding him radiating hope and possibility. She saw him watching, giving her space to navigate this fork in the road. I know how fun it used to be, she said gently but firmly. But I'm looking for something deeper now. Something genuine. I don't want to just escape, I want to grow. But staying in your comfort zone doesn't allow for growth. Laura pointed out, But Maria could see the dissatisfaction creeping into the brightness of her friend's eyes. I don't think of my life like that anymore, trying to relive the past for fun. I want to embrace where I am now and open myself to new things, Maria admitted, her heart swelling with resolve. As she turned to look at Ethan again, she felt the lengths of their connection stretching before her, an invisible dance tethering them. His gaze was steady, searching, inviting her into a world where joy and vulnerability intertwined. Taking a deep breath, she faced her friend squarely. I appreciate what we had, but I no longer want to cling to those memories. I want to embrace this moment. Are you sure? Laura asked, eyebrows knit together as if bracing for an inevitable pushback. Absolutely. I'm ready to build something real, not just dive into nostalgia. Ethan stepped forward at that moment, a warmth radiating from him that contrasted with the feelings of doubt and hesitation swirling in the air. What is going on? He asked gently. Maria found her voice stronger as she turned to him. They want me to look back, but I want to move forward. Ethan's expression turned serious, but there was a spirit of respect in his gaze. You're not just rediscovering yourself. You're choosing who you want to be every day from here on out, aren't you? Exactly, she confirmed, standing taller as the invisible weight lifted. In that moment, with the warm glow of shared connection surrounding them, Maria felt a sense of clarity that shone brighter than any past memory. The closeness to her children, her ambitions, and her burgeoning relationship with Ethan all danced gracefully together in her heart, as if intertwined in a beautiful tapestry. As she looked back at Laura and David, she thought about allowing herself to feel happy, and the fact that it didn't have to impede on the love she had for her children. She could invite them into this new world, too. What if we create new memories together? Invite the kids next time. A full circle of joy, Maria spoke softly, her heart lighter than it had ever been. Would that include us? David asked, navigating the delicate terrain between their longing for the past and her hope for a brighter future. Yes, she smiled. It's about embracing where we are now together. She felt the warmth of acknowledgement from Ethan, encouragement bubbling in the shared anticipation of what was yet to come. And so as they left the echoes of what once was, laughter faded behind them as they stepped into the future with open hearts and the promise of new memories yet to be made. With each step forward, Maria felt lighter, believing that every part of her life could coexist: her past, her responsibilities, her blossoming relationship with Ethan. The journey to reclaim herself was just beginning, but she embraced it wholeheartedly, surrounded by the comforting knowledge that she had friends willing to support her every step of the way. The music played on, wrapping around them like a loving embrace, and with Ethan by her side, they ventured into the possibilities waiting just beyond the horizon. Now, it's your turn to be a part of this journey. You need to subscribe now to the channel for more inspiring stories like this one. Leave a like to fuel the algorithm and keep the good vibes flowing. And don't forget to comment below your feelings about this powerful transformation. I want to hear from you. Share this video immediately with at least 5 friends who need to witness this beautiful journey of growth. Don't wait, not even one more second. Let us spread the love and inspiration.